Welcome to the Throwdown with Matt, a podcast celebrating the art of professional wrestling. We feature live stream chats with wrestlers, promoters, and others involved in the industry. Tonight is episode 140 of the Throwdown, and my guest is South Carolina-based pro wrestler, the Palmetto Cult Classic, James Johnson. James has been wrestling for roughly 10 years and is a fixture on the indie scene around the Southeast and can be found pretty consistently at his home promotion, Palmetto Championship Wrestling. So, without further delay, let's throw down.
It's showtime, folks!
Throwdown Nation, we are live. It is a Wednesday night. We are rolling on Instagram, on YouTube, on Twitter/X, on Facebook, and on Twitch. It is episode 140. I can't believe we've managed to pull off 140 of these. And today we are throwing down with a South Carolina-based wrestler, a guy who is a fixture on the indie scene in the Carolinas, known in some circles as tie-dye. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Palmetto Cult Classic, James Johnson. How you doing, sir?
Man, I can't complain. How are you, buddy?
Man, like I said, if I were doing much better, there'd probably be 7 or 8 of me.
Yes, sir.
And, you know, for those of you that are watching this live, if you have any questions or comments, just throw them in the chat and we'll either handle them as we go or do a little Q&A at the end. And I'm already seeing people popping up in the chat on Instagram. We've got KJ Valentine, who was a recent guest of mine. He's an Atlanta-based guy.
Awesome.
And
we love some good Georgia talent.
Absolutely. So we'll go ahead and start with the first and the most obvious question, and that is, how long have you been wrestling?
Well, it's a tough question to answer because I kind of took a small little break in the middle. But if you combine my 10 years, I'm sitting at around 11 years total. The first several years were but, you know, from the years like 2017 on, like that's when we really hit the ball rolling, or hit the ground running. Hit the ball rolling.
Oh, you know, I knew what you were saying, and I think everybody else does too.
I hope so.
So, you know, I know the answer to this because we were talking a little bit before we went on the air, but who trained you?
So my main trainer is Ethan Case. I say that because I was trained before I met Ethan. Yeah, but I'm going to put that in like quotation marks. I was trained before I met Ethan. And when the Palmetto Wrestling Academy initially opened, we had 3 trainers. We had Ethan Case as the head trainer, Malachi Matthews, and Billy Brash. The latter 2 are no longer with the academy. They've moved on. But Ethan's still there, and he's running everything. It's pumping out more and more talent and at a higher quality than I ever thought possible. Like, some of these kids are coming out like year 1 and having matches that I wasn't having until like within the last few years. So I was actually the first graduate of the Palmetto Wrestling Academy, and it seems like he took the template that he laid out when he was training me, tweaked it, improved on it, and just, you know, overall made the entire thing better.
Turned it into a quality machine.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Well, you know, like I was telling you before we went on the air, you know, I've got this funny connection with Ethan Case. You know, I've told the story on here before, but I'll tell it again. Years ago, my wife and some of her friends and I were out to dinner locally here in Atlanta, and it just so turned out that night that Ethan Case was our waiter. And over the course of things, he mentioned that he wrestled. And I thought, well, that's interesting. So I got his social media, and I've been kind of following his career from a distance, and I saw that he'd opened the school, and it's just funny that fate has it that I started doing these things, and now I've had a number of his students on. I'm still working on getting Ethan on the show. I would love to pick his brain, but I know he's a busy guy.
Oh man, I wish I could accurately put into words how busy he is,
Oh, I know.
because like I always like pride myself on staying busy, but like I could not imagine adopting the schedule that he keeps.
No.
But like knowing who Ethan is as a person, knowing that he was your server, waiter, whatever we want to call it, like I'm sure the service was impeccable. He's such a people person. Like
Yeah.
like I've never met somebody that just like can like attract relationships with people so easily. Like
Yeah.
most people talk to him and they feel like they've known him for years.
Yeah. Well, that the conversation while he was our waiter or server or whatever you want to call it, like you said, I could just tell, I could see the passion that he had for wrestling, and I was like, this guy's going places,
Yeah.
and sure enough, he has made a big impact on the business that we love.
Yes, sir. He's had a who's who of people standing across the ring with him. He was a
Yep.
tag team partner at Jushin Thunder Liger in his last match in North Carolina. Not his last match ever, period, but his last match in the state. I want to
Right.
get that clear before anybody tries to fact check me. I know where he retired at. Thank you. But his very last, professional wrestling match in the state of North Carolina, Ethan Case was one of his tag team partners, and I was there, and it was really cool for me to get to see that.
That is very cool. So, I'm presuming, because this has been the case with the majority of my guests on here, that you've been at least a fan of this stuff the majority of your life. Is that pretty accurate?
Oh yeah, I as far back as I can remember, wrestling's been a part of my life. Like my mom was a really big fan, which it's actually kind of funny. Like we would have little mini wars in the house, like during like the '90s, during the Monday Night Wars and stuff, because she was a big WCW fan. She liked Goldberg and she liked anybody that was fighting the NWO, and I was a WWF fan. So we
Yeah.
would be like arguing over the remote, and like she had all these tapes, and on the occasion where she would just insist we watch WCW, she would at least take me to like the video rental stores and like let me get a VHS of a recent pay-per-view to watch, because Lord knows we didn't have it to like watch it live.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. I was not and am not a particular fan of Goldberg's. But that being said, I was in the Georgia Dome the night that he went over on Hogan. And let me tell you, that place came absolutely unglued. I don't think I have heard a roar that loud in my life before or since.
Yeah,
That was a magic moment to be in attendance for. So
and that's the key word, right? Like people, we can say whatever we want about somebody's skill bell to bell and like how we think of
right,
them personally, but our business is all about making moments.
yeah,
So no matter what your view on the performer is, like Goldberg, for how many ever thousand people were in that Georgia Dome, like he made a moment for them, and they're gonna remember that
oh
for the
for sure,
rest of their lives.
absolutely. So, what would you say is your earliest wrestling related memory?
Oh, my earliest wrestling related memory. It's not so much like a specific thing as it is like I remember like a faction. Like for some reason the Ministry of Darkness always just like stuck on me, and I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure why. Because even the Undertaker was like, I didn't really care for that much. I was freaked out as a kid. Like they
Yeah,
really like just stuck it in my brain that I should be scared of them. And like they're out here they're hanging or they're crucifying Austin on Undertaker's symbol, and they're hanging the boss man from the cell. And they're sacrificing Midian on TV, and just I'm just this young kid, and I don't know any better. Like,
Right.
and I'm just thinking, like, how are they getting away with this?
Yeah.
Where's the police?
Yeah. It was the same kind of thing with me when I started. I was an 11-year-old kid in Florida, watching the old Florida Championship Wrestling with Gordon Soley doing the commentary and all that. And the first feud I remember was Dusty Rhodes and Kevin Sullivan. And that was back when Kevin Sullivan had the whole satanic gimmick going on with the Army of Darkness. So it was the same kind of thing. When you're 11 years old, Kevin Sullivan's a scary dude.
Yeah.
I mean, you find out later, absolute sweetheart of a man, apparently. But I mean, he was scary stuff when you're 11.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's crazy to think about because nobody ever like really puts two and two together on this, but he's not a tall man.
No, he's not.
And you never really think about that. And it's crazy. Like, and I know exactly why people don't think about that is because he doesn't let other wrestlers like stand up next to him, like when he's wrestling them, because then you can compare size. And he was like, but if you're down on your knees or if like I've laid you out flat, then no matter what, I'm the bigger man. And I was like, that is insane. That's like next level thought. And I love that.
Yeah, accentuate the positive and eliminate your shortcomings, so to speak.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I don't really have that privilege because like I'm 5'6" and roughly right around 200 pounds. Like I don't know how he did it. I genuinely don't.
Yeah. Speed round.
All right.
Jeff Hardy.
Ah, man, he helped shape my childhood. I did some dumb stuff because of Jeff Hardy. So if we're going with like one word responses, I would say
it doesn't have to be one word, but just your basic quick thoughts.
All right. Well, I'll try. I'll do a bit of both. So I'll give you my brief thought, and I'll give you a one word when I finish up on it. So the one word for Jeff Hardy for me would be influential. Like he influenced this generation of wrestlers probably more than any other wrestler.
Agreed.
Yeah, I did some dumb stuff. My mom hated Jeff Hardy without ever watching one of his matches because she knew.
Yeah. She knew he was leading you down the primrose path?
Yeah. Sure did.
Yep. So, as I mentioned when we were talking before going on the air, I saw this recent video of you essentially murdering Kirby at a recent show.
Yep, I sure did.
What was that all about? I mean,
okay,
give us the rundown of how that came to be, because like you said, you made a moment.
Apparently a moment that is being watched quite a bit right now. And I've been laughing about it with my friends a lot because I was like, man, I've spent 11 years trying to be a really good professional wrestler. And like, I've been putting out, in my opinion, some pretty quality work for the better part of like the last, 7-ish years. And a video of me stabbing a man in an inflatable Kirby costume is the one that for some reason wanted to pop off. And so the backstory behind that is I work for a company that runs shows at these like comic book and video game conventions.
Mm-hmm.
The company is Pro Wrestling Turbo. It is a beautiful place, super inclusive, always has passionate fans, always has a talented roster. But when we do these convention shows, because it's a video game themed convention, we do the Southeast Game Exchange in Greenville, South Carolina. they want us to do what they refer to as Smash in real life. So it's Super Smash Brothers characters in a wrestling ring, essentially.
Gotcha.
Uh, I don't like to get super extravagant with the costumes because I'm going to do this once, maybe twice a year.
Yeah.
And I don't want to just have it sitting in my closet because I do go through like fluctuations in my weight. Like over the last like 6 months or so, I've lost about 35, 40 pounds. So it would be completely worthless by the time I had to use it again.
Right.
So I was just like, oh, okay, we'll be me fighters. And they're just essentially the little character avatars of whoever owns the game console. So I'm wearing these black pants and this red long sleeve shirt in the middle of July. And it's burning up hot. And I'm in the middle of an absolutely ludicrous but amazingly entertaining match of myself as a me fighter against 4 people who are playing Mario characters. And by Mario characters, I mean different variations of Mario. So it's 4 Marios and a me.
Nice.
So the referee was also dressed as Mario. So there was a moment where I beat up every Mario outside the ring, and I got in the ring and I was basking in it. And he tries to get my attention to tell me that I need to get one of them in the ring to try to win. As soon as he touched me, I turned and all I saw was Mario. So I jumped up and I gave him a cutter because he scared me.
Yeah.
And then I realized what I've done.
Yeah.
I can't win the match right now, but I can still dole out some punishment. So I call my cohorts of the sports entertainment empire, and they come out and they're just about to get ready to help me. And Kirby's theme music starts playing. And if you haven't been to one of these shows, Kirby is an absolute menace. Like everyone is in the comments of this video talking about, oh no, poor Kirby. Oh no, he's my favorite. Listen, he is the literal devil.
Okay.
When this man comes out, he's coming to wreck shop, and there's nothing you can do to stop him.
Yeah.
So he scares Mila, and she goes running. And like she runs straight by Drew Hood. And Drew like watches her leave, and he turns back around, and Kirby knocks him down. And he's got like this ability to absorb you. So he's trying to suck Drew up so he can absorb him. And Drew is this close to getting
absorbed.
He's about to get eaten. Like he is right there. And then Mila saved Drew. Well, Kirby didn't like that, so he knocked Mila down too. And then he went around the ring and he starts knocking every single variation of Mario flat on their face. And he looks at me because I'm the only one in the ring. He's looking at me, and I'm not going to let that happen to me. I refuse. No. Yeah. Especially because I know that I am, I think they said it's a swordsman. I'm a me fighter swordsman. I have a knife.
Yeah.
You will not absorb me. No, it won't happen. So he jumps up on the ring apron, and before he can get his jolly pink behind in this ring, I stab him.
Yeah.
I stabbed him, and then I just did not stop. And then I had to make sure the deed was done, so I reached over and I grabbed it and I ripped just to make sure that he was not coming back.
Yeah. You know,
everyone thinks I did that to be spiteful.
No,
I was doing that for self-preservation. He was coming to end me.
Exactly. You were going to get absorbed into whatever.
I can't let that happen. I have children. I have a wife. Yeah. Like I'm the breadwinner. I have to make it home.
Yeah.
I can't go out like that.
No. That wow. Yeah. I mean, you know, what do you want on your epitaph? Absorbed by Kirby?
Yeah. No. I don't even know if I would get one if I got absorbed.
Probably not. I
Feels
don't
like
know.
everybody would just try to forget that happened.
You know, you were mentioning all of the Mario stuff. It never fails to amaze me what an impact on pop culture Donkey Kong had. I mean,
Right?
everything originated from Donkey Kong. I mean, I wonder how many total spin-offs there have been from Donkey Kong, counting all of the I mean, it's got to be in at least the high hundreds.
Oh, undoubtedly, especially the stuff that, is unofficial. My
Yeah,
lord.
yeah,
Like
it's crazy.
anything in pop culture has been like has after it's been an original creation has been taken, copied,
Yeah.
twisted. Somebody somebody's done everything that you can think of with these characters.
Oh, yeah, and probably some things he would just as soon not think of.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep, yep,
yep, yep.
yep. So, away from wrestling, what are some of your other hobbies and interests?
It's a little bit harder to define that because my life is pretty much like surrounded by wrestling at this point because we
Mhm.
we mentioned the Palmetto Wrestling Academy earlier. I anytime I'm not myself wrestling, I am training the next crop of talent at the Palmetto Wrestling Academy. I'm assisting Ethan Case in that way, trying to take a little bit off of his plate. But man, I used to be really big into video games and I'm trying to get back into it.
Mhm.
It's a little bit harder, but like there's certain video games that like no matter what console comes out, they wind up on there. Like I play Minecraft all the time. Even though now that's so far out of my wheelhouse, I don't know what's going on there anymore. Like I just recently picked it up for the first time in like 10 years. And I was
Mhm.
like, what happened? I was really good at this game. And now I have all this stuff and I don't know what it does. Like I wanna dig in a cave, I wanna build a house.
Yeah.
Why is there so much extra stuff here?
Yeah, they had to go and make it complicated.
Yeah, I mean I understand because there are people that like to play games and like have set goals and things like that. And I do like story-based games like Horizon Zero Dawn, stuff like that. Those games are like aside from just being fun to play, like when the cutscenes and stuff start playing, like they're cinematic masterpieces. Like if they got together and made a movie instead of a video game, like it would do bukus. It would have to because it's so well done.
Yeah.
But like Minecraft needs to be simple.
Yeah. Something needs to be simple. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, you
uh,
can't overcomplicate every aspect of my life. Please, thank you.
no.
I worry enough as is.
So looking over at the Instagram chat, Missy Long is in there, and she said to tell you that Caden says, "Hey."
What up, Caden? I love
Caden just
Missy.
Caden just had a birthday yesterday.
Did he?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
he is now a 12-year-old. So
I've known Caden for so long. I don't
yeah,
like the idea of like people I met when they were like children aging up into like teenage years.
yeah,
Like that's a little that's rough for me.
yeah. It's wild. It's wild. But yeah, I actually had Caden and his parents on the show recently. So
Oh,
yeah,
I didn't know that. I need to go watch that.
I did a every once in a while I do a fan spotlight show. So anyway,
That's cool.
so we're mostly a wrestling oriented show, but we do, as you can tell, dabble a little bit into pop culture. So
Yeah.
I'm always looking for recommendations. Are you by any chance watching or listening to anything cool right now?
Uh like this is actually more for like Mila than it is for me, but we also like we just make a tradition. Anytime there's a new Marvel movie that comes out, she has to see it. She
Mm-hmm.
has to because she will watch a video breaking it down before she goes to see it, and it'll ruin the whole thing for her.
Yeah.
But she wants to get ahead of the curve, and she has no self control when it comes to these things. And like I hate to say that, but uh, we haven't missed one. If we do miss one because of like I need to run class and do training or something like that, or we have Thursday or Friday bookings,
Mm-hmm.
we just kind of like chill on social media. We don't look at it because I don't like knowing what happens before I see a movie. I know she will absolutely blow a gasket if she finds out something that happens before she goes to see the movie. Other than Marvel movies and stuff, watching there was a recent documentary that came out about Dale Earnhardt, like on
Mm-hmm.
I think it was on Peacock. I watched that and I realized that like he's literally just a wrestling character. But
Yeah.
like and I was like, this is amazing. Cause like he's giving you the blueprint on how to get over. Cause
Yeah.
like people thought like he like just dominated NASCAR. His record at first was horrible. Like he would just go out of his way and drive recklessly and to crash other people. Like he didn't care about really winning, but he wanted you to think about Dale Earnhardt when you left, good, bad, or indifferent.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
whenever
You know.
like, and then whenever like he started to get a fan following or whatever, like that's when he started racing and like not
Yeah.
worrying so much about putting somebody into a wall. He just wanted to win, and that's when his record started becoming impeccable. I mean, he's got like
Yep.
the 7 championships, I think it was, and like he's tied for it. And I was like, this is amazing. And I'm probably talking over a lot of people's heads because like I'm not sure how much crossover there is between NASCAR and like what we do, other than the parallels I've just laid out, like that people may not have realized. But like it was such a good documentary. Like I loved it, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
mainly because like I used to watch NASCAR with my dad when I was like 5,
Mm-hmm.
and that was like our big bonding thing.
Well, Dale Earnhardt understood, love you or hate you, they'll never forget you. And
Absolutely.
if they remember you and they're talking about you, you've done your job.
Yep.
Like you said, get yourself over one way or the
Yeah.
other.
They're not
And
gonna not use you if you're selling tickets. Like he could have never won a race in his life. And as long as people are talking about him and there's buzz around NASCAR because he's around, they're gonna use him.
yep,
Like,
yep. So looking again at the Instagram chat, former previous guest DPJ is in the chat, and he says that
oh
you're the
boy,
man. He says that
you're
you are the man.
attaboy, attaboy, DPJ. He knows who's the man.
Yeah,
There's 2 boxes you can check. It's James Johnson or the wrong answer.
yeah, absolutely. So, what is your favorite thing about South Carolina?
My favorite thing about South Carolina. That's a tough one. I mean, realistically, up until the point where I moved, it was all I really ever knew. And I
Hmm.
think I probably fell into the same train of thought as most people that grow up anywhere is that I can't wait to get out of this place.
Right.
Uh, Other than, in my opinion, the best professional wrestling school of all time. Uh, Other than, my family being here, which is a big reason why I'm back here. Other than that, man, like I like the fact that in every region of this state, you're either in a city or you're on the outskirts of the city.
Yeah.
Not like it's not like what's the word? Not it's not gentrified, but you don't have to worry about going too far for anything. but you also have the ability to go a little bit over this way and like have your own little plot of privacy. You know what I mean?
Yep, I do. I
I
do.
I've been blessed to be able to travel all over the US, at least, like Midwest to East Coast, because I don't like to fly. I'll do it. I just don't, if I can drive there, I will. Uh,
Gotcha.
A, because I like to sightsee, but B, I hate flying. This the idea is just horrible to me. Uh, but that's not saying I won't. So if you have any interest in bringing me in and you want to fly me, I absolutely will fly out to you and I will wrestle for your show. But I've had the privilege of traveling all over and like getting to see some of the most beautiful things, and they would be in places you would least expect. Like
Mm-hmm.
even just the difference in like architecture between states. Like once I crossed from like Virginia into Pennsylvania, like the architecture completely changes and it's such a beautiful thing to see. And then you see things that like make you a little sad, but like you think about the history of them and you're like, oh, okay. Like there was a series of just abandoned, I don't, I would say towns, like connected directly next to each other, like, and like I think it was Mount Carmel, Pennsylvania, or something like that. But like, there's a bunch of just empty buildings, and they're old and they're beat up, and the glasses broke out, and you're like, oh man, like I bet this used to be such a cool place. But then you think like, oh yeah, this used to be such a cool place, and it's still here technically. Like this place has got history, and I always found that like fascinating. But yeah, those. Sorry to get off topic.
Oh, no, man. So, you know, they say that the best wrestling personas are usually yourself turned up to 11. So tell us about in ring you and kind of compare and contrast him with everyday you. Or is it
Uh,
what you see is what you get?
uh, it's a bit of a mixture.
Okay.
In ring James Johnson is more like before you and I got on air, we talked about the difference in 20-year-old James Johnson and 30-year-old James Johnson. 20-year-old James Johnson would fly off the handle and just be annoyingly aggressive at the first like hint of disrespect or anything like that. That's kind of what 30-year-old James Johnson's wrestling character is, because I I get to live out things that like I don't do in my everyday life when I wrestle. So
Right.
like a lot of people it works out better if it is genuinely who they are, but for me I still connect with that guy, but I know that reasonably I can't do that in my everyday life anymore. I can't be that guy.
Right.
James Johnson now has responsibilities. He has kids. He has a wife. He's got bills. He needs to keep that job, and
Yeah.
he's got to provide. But that guy's still down in James Johnson. He doesn't, talking about myself in third person is so cringy. I know it's fine, but but like I'm trying to speak objectively is
Right.
why I'm doing it. But disrespect is something that still doesn't fly for me, but in my personal life, I deal with it more chill. Like I'm way more laid back about it. It's more like, oh, okay, I'm sorry that you feel that way. I'm just gonna go this way and not deal with you. Whereas 20-year-old James Johnson would fly completely off the handle and throw hands as soon as possible. So that's kind of where the character came from, and it's a mix of that and my all-time favorite wrestler is Sami Callihan. He is
Nice.
undoubtedly like I said Jeff Hardy was influential earlier, and that's true to the vast majority of wrestling, but Sammy's fingerprints are everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Like even if people like don't want to admit like they stole it from Sammy, they stole it from Sammy.
Yep.
They stole it from Sammy. I will raise my hand and admit right now I have stolen from him liberally. But
Yeah.
it's crazy. Like when you find something that works, you start to experiment with it a little bit. Like I start to sit and like watch patterns in wrestling, and I'm like, okay, let's see how we can get ahead of the curve. Because I went back and I watched up, and this is where like me being influenced by Sammy Callahan comes from, because I went back and watched a whole lot of like mid 2010s PWG and Wrestling Revolver and like freelance wrestling and AAW and things like that. And some of these company names may go over some people's heads, but they presented a style of wrestling that I absolutely love. And like, I didn't know that you could re-fall in love with something that you hadn't fallen out of love with.
Right. But you can.
It was insane. Like, I knew I always loved wrestling. I loved watching it. I knew what a good match looked like. But what these guys were doing on these shows, like, blew my mind.
Yep.
Because they're going absolutely insane. And to me, it's kind of a niche that isn't like being used right now.
Right.
And I want to do my part in trying to bring that style back, especially down here in the South where it was never really that prevalent. We had like 2 or 3 companies tops that were putting out that kind of wrestling.
Right.
But like, if I love it and I'm from here, I know there is at least a few people that will watch me do this kind of stuff and be like, yeah, that's what I love about wrestling. I didn't know that that's what I loved about wrestling, but it is.
Yep. Yeah, I am also a big Sammy Callahan mark. I loved his Switchblade conspiracy stuff with Mox. I mean,
So
yeah,
good.
absolutely.
So good.
Yep. So, tell us about your very first match. What was it like? How did it go? What were your thoughts?
Oh, are we talking like my first match or like first after I got retrained?
Let's just say first after you got retrained, because
Thank God.
first doesn't sound like it was really worth spending a lot of time on.
I'll give you the cliff notes of that one. The guy I was working with was super dangerous. Came about as close to breaking my neck as humanly possible, and never apologized for it. And like, I'm not gonna blast his name or give him any kind of like, publicity, because screw that guy. My first match after really being retrained, I'm way less embarrassed about.
Yeah.
So I mark like the official retraining of me, like my graduation, like it was a match that I had where I switched characters from like a generic indie wrestler, just in tights, nondescript. Ethan likes to poke fun at me because I basically, like, I looked like a biker, but like I don't know anything about motorcycles, so he calls me a motorcycle enthusiast, which you know what is pretty good.
Yeah.
If I would have like been smart about it before I changed characters, I would have played into that completely, but I wasn't smart back then. But I changed from that very bland, generic look character to I played a hippie character, which is where the tie-dye thing came from, which has been it was the best gift that Ethan could have given to me at that time, because it was so far out of my wheelhouse that I had to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And that has been like the best lesson I've ever gotten in wrestling. But the match was actually what was the shift, So I lost a championship in my home company, Palmetto Championship Wrestling.
Okay.
And instead of immediately challenging for a rematch, I went away for a little while, and we posted a small video of me basically boxing up that old stuff. And it was all in like black and white, uh, which is so melodramatic, but like it worked for what we did. So I would pack all my stuff up into this box and I would throw it. And I was so frustrated in the video. But then like I picked up this other box and I slowly opened it and I reached in and I pulled out a set of tie-dye long tights, like just something very simple. And whenever I pulled those out of the box, the color came back into frame. And
I
it was
like
such a it was a fun little moment, and one that like I would have never thought of. That was all Ethan's idea. And I pulled that out, and we're not showing this at the show. It's just a video we posted on the page. So I have the tights, and that's all. The video cuts off. I don't say anything. There's no words in the entire video. The guy that won the championship that I lost was in the ring, and he was doing a big championship celebration or whatever. He's wearing dress pants and a button up. His name's Kevin Ray, and like unfortunately he's no longer with us. And not like he's not dead, but he's no longer with us in independent wrestling. He went and got a big boy job, and did the responsible thing. Can't relate. But he man, me and him were like joined at the hip for a really long time. Like it felt like every weekend I was wrestling Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
But he was having this championship celebration, and then it was either our general manager or Shane Dorr, the owner of Palmetto Championship Wrestling, came out and announced. I think it was Shane came out and announced that a former champion was cashing in his rematch. And then I come out in the full hippie garb, and nobody questioned a thing. They were just so happy to see me back. And then B, like the fact that I showed up, had a personality, and like just a definable character. They latched onto me immediately, and it felt
awesome.
wonderful. And the match went off great. Like I can't say like it held up compared to like my work now, because how could it? Like it was my first match after being retrained, right? But like watching it, I don't hate watching it. Like it's just it's a fun memory, and it's just such a the difference in what I was doing and what I did that night was night and day.
Gotcha.
And Kevin was such a good dance partner. Like I didn't even win, and people were still like just so jazzed to see me, and they wanted to cheer for me. They chanted. They didn't even know what my nickname was because you couldn't really hear it over the speakers. They didn't know Tie Dye Sunrise. They were just chanting tie dye, whatever came out of their mouth afterwards, like tie dye guy or anything. Yeah. And they were just so supportive. It was such a positive moment for me. Like, and I don't know how I could ever feel any other way about that match. It was just so much fun. And then like afterwards they gave me a welcome back chant like I had left for like a year. It was definitely like 2 shows, maybe. Like I was not gone long.
No, but you were gone. You were gone,
yeah.
and it was noticed. So
yeah. And then when I came back, I gave them something that they didn't know they wanted.
Yeah.
Stay ahead of the curve.
Absolutely. So you've told us about the first match. Now tell us about your favorite match that you've been a part of.
Ooh. This one's going to be kind of tricky.
Okay. Tricky is good.
I'm going to have to probably give 2 examples.
Okay,
because one of them from like bell to bell is just my shining representation of oh, I'm really good at wrestling, and I didn't believe in me the way I was supposed to. But after that match, it was like foot to the floor, gas pedal. And the other one is just a match that I've had that was so memorable that people still only want to talk to me about this match. So the latter, the one that people want to talk about, I wrestled a guy by the name of Drew Adler. I'm not
Oh, I
sure if you're
love
familiar.
Drew. Actually, was the second guest on my show.
That's amazing.
I
He's
love
a
Drew.
perfect guest.
He is
Perfect guest.
awesome.
He's unironically one of my favorite human beings on this planet. I'm sure he would have me drawn and quartered for saying positive things about him live. I don't care. He's just genuinely a gem of a human being.
Agreed.
Drew and I had never met. Like, and then we have this match at Palmetto where I have ideas for it. And he's more than willing to listen. Like, he's like, I don't have anything in mind. You just tell me what you want to do. At the time, he was leaning really heavy into being like top tier nutrition, and like he still has elements of that today, but he was like super leaning into it. He had meal plan cards he would fill out before every match, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
But I'm doing this hippie thing, and like I would come out with junk food like Mountain Dew and Doritos.
Yeah.
So naturally, of course, we have to wrestle about that. Of course we
yeah.
do. In this match specifically, the open of the match is him trying to get me in shape, which is not going to happen. It's just not. It would be easier today than it was, in 2018. He was trying to write me out this meal plan, and the people are just giving him the business. They're not happy about the ideas he's presenting to me. He's telling me to knock out Dew and Doritos and like try his supplements, and they're just booing him out of the building. He goes to give me some of his pre-workout. I take a drink of it. I spit it in his face, and I tell him that his soda's flat, and just all this stuff. He charges at me. I'm giving him arm drags with his open shaker bottle in my other hand, and we're not spilling a drop. Realize I still have it. Toss it over to him. He catches. I drop kick him. It's all great stuff, and like the match is like the match holds up really well, like technically, but the moments again are the ones that like stick out to me the most.
Yep.
And the moment that I remember so vividly is that he goes for something to like attack me. I'm trying to shove a Dorito in his mouth, and he catches my hands, and he's fighting it, and he's making this face like a horror movie monster is trying to stab him in the face. And then the tables get turned. He has his shaker cup, and he's trying to force feed me his supplements, and I'm doing the same thing. And then eventually I get a Dorito in his mouth, and he chews it, and he realizes just how good they are.
Yeah.
And Drew Adler is he should be every man's goal, like to be like as a man, because he shoveled down this entire bag of Doritos, like after we had been wrestling for like 8 or 9 minutes. He's just
gorging.
He's just gorging. And I can barely drink water after exercise sometimes without like almost choking. And then he's like, he finishes the bag. They're gone. I checked. And he needs something to drink. So I, have playfully pushed his shaker cup out of the ring so he can't see it. And I'll never forget this because this almost ended horribly. The guy who was filming it accidentally kicked over the Mountain Dew and like handed it to me and didn't tell me that he kicked it over. So
no.
I give it to Drew. Drew opens it and it geysers, and without like hesitation, he's such a professional. He sees it geysering out, and instead of having it spill all over the ring and the canvas, like he just took one for the team. He put it like he clamped his mouth over the bottle and just like almost choked on it. Like, and he then drank half a bottle of Mountain Dew after he just shoveled down an entire bag of Doritos.
Wow.
And he's like, he's like, oh my God, this is delicious. I've never had this much sugar in my life. And I'm like, I'm thinking I've got him. I'm like, yes, we did it. He then has a sugar rush and starts running and just beating the dog out of me because he has so much energy. But it catches up to him in the end. He goes to pick me up. Oh, and then catches a cramp. Yeah, he caught a cramp, and he keeps trying, and it keeps getting worse. And then I roll him up, and I win. Mountain Dew and Doritos won a match for me.
Beautiful.
So that's one of my favorite matches. And the other one I had, and it sticks out to me because it's more of like a sentimental thing for me, is I wrestled a guy by the name of Rios de la Sangre.
Okay.
And I say this because I've wrestled Ethan before. My honorary mention for this my favorite moment is I got to be Ethan's. Actually, this one might be the biggest. Anyway, so Rios and I, like, we hit it off immediately. The reason that this match meant so much to me, and it's the first match we ever had. I can't tell you like blow for blow what happened in this match, but I can tell you that everybody said it was magic, and I love that because I love to provide that. But the thing is, I didn't grow up with like a lot of privilege. Like we didn't have a lot of extra, to spend on frivolous things.
Right.
Like my mom always made sure that I was taken care of. I never went without, but we had to be smart about our money.
Right.
So I never got to go to an independent wrestling show until I had already wrestled on them. So I never got to go as a fan. The year 2014 rolls around, and I saw a flyer for a show, PWX, and I go there because it's got Cedric Alexander on the poster, and I know him from Ring of Honor, and I know like he's a big household name, to me at least.
Right.
And now he's a big household name to everybody. But I go to see Cedric, and I don't even remember what he did on that show, because the only match that I remember that happened was Ethan Case versus a guy named Jay Rios. Jay Rios is Rios de la Sangre.
Okay.
I also did not know that was Ethan in that match until after he trained me, because we were tape studying a match, and he showed me he likes to show his matches because he can tell you why he did things a certain way, but then he'll also show you other bigger wrestlers' matches or whatever.
Right.
So I watched that match, and I'm sitting there, I was like, this looks really familiar. And I'm watching it, and it hits me like halfway through, and I was like, where was this? And he tells me the venue, and I was like, there's no way. But yeah, I had the opportunity to wrestle Rios many years later, like 9-10 years later, and that was the coolest thing to me, because like
a full circle moment.
And it was a crazy amount of like full circle moments in a row for me at that point in my career, because I had this first match with Rios, and we click immediately. We're killing it. Like, I very rarely like go balls to the wall the first time I wrestle somebody, because you never really know like how well you're going to click together, and you don't want to be the guy when it's like you could hit a grand slam and you strike out. Nobody likes that guy. Right. I'm going to give you like an amazing match to the best of my abilities, but if it's our first time, I want to save some.
Right.
Not because like I don't trust us, but because I went all out. I was like, we're going. and we killed, like, we went like 20 something minutes, and it was beautiful to me. And then shortly thereafter, I got to wrestle Ethan in his return match after he got hurt. Like, he waited 2 years to come back to wrestling, and he came back to wrestle me, and we had a street fight, and it was, if it's not my favorite match I've ever had, it's definitely like top 5.
Yeah.
And then the next month after that, I got to wrestle Rios again in the first match on the show. And I was also in a Rumble at the end of the show that I started, and the last 2 people in the Rumble were me and Ethan Case.
Oh, cool.
And I just sat there and I was like, wow, I just bookended this show with the 2 people that I got to watch as a fan. Like, this is just crazy to me. And they're the people that inspired me to, like, really go after wrestling. Like, I had already been a wrestler, but, like, those 2 and what they did the night I went as a fan, what, like, made me go, oh, this is what we could do. Like, I don't have to just do what everybody else is doing. I could do this.
Yep.
And it's that same, like, PWG style. Like, I'm gonna send you the link to the match afterwards, and I want you to just watch it and enjoy it.
Oh, for
it's
sure,
so good.
for sure.
But it's,
You know that what you were talking about with the Mountain Dew and the Doritos, that is like Bray Wyatt level creativity, just on the fly type of stuff. You know.
I very much appreciate that. I mean, it's the one thing that people will consistently come up to me and be like, "Hey, do you remember this?" As if I wasn't the one that lived it. But it's I've wrestled Drew Adler so many times, and the matches are always like phenomenal. Like, I've never had a bad match with Drew Adler involved. But that's the one, and it was our first one. But that's the one that sticks out to people.
Yeah.
And I find that very intriguing. And it's all because of the moments. And, like, yeah, we've had really good wrestling matches, and all of those wrestling matches we've had created moments, but that moment in particular stood out to people so much that they talked to me about it 7-8 years later.
Yeah. And like we were saying before we went on the air, you just never know what moment is going to resonate. I mean, it really is kind of the luck of the draw sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes, you stab Kirby and it gets 80,000 views in a day.
So, and I know everybody has them, but what is your biggest in-ring pet peeve?
I've got a lot. The one thing I despise more than anything else in ring is not respecting your official. I despise it with such a passion. Not even from like just a sheer respect aspect, which I do have for anybody that is an official in wrestling, because it's a skill that I don't have. Like, I can do it, but I cannot do it well. But even from like a psychological standpoint, why would you disrespect the person who decides whether or not you win or lose?
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Why diss the guy that has your fate in his hand? I mean, yeah.
Exactly. And like, a good official can make and break a match, right? So if you're a good official, if you're the third man in the ring, so, like, as the saying goes, and you are good at your job, you will take a good match and turn it to a great match. If you are a bad referee, you can take a match that is amazing and it will go straight into the gutter.
Yep.
Like, I have very few things that irk my nerves, but when people just blatantly disrespect their officials, it bothers me. A lot of the times when I'm like I'm trying to come up with something, like I'll talk to my officials and be like, "Hey, how much can I get away with? Like,
Yeah.
where's the line? Because I want this to be as good for you as it is for me."
Yeah.
Like I don't understand some people just like, it doesn't matter, they're just a referee. Screw you.
Yeah.
I don't get it. But that would have to be my biggest one. That or like the only other thing is not being safe. Like
Yeah.
safety is like the biggest thing we teach at the academy. If you can't
But
do something
it
safely,
has
don't.
to be. I
Yeah,
mean, you know.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I shouldn't be able to say that and it'd be like a plus. It should just be common sense.
Yeah.
But that's not always on people's minds
No.
for some reason or another. Um, and it's frustrating. It really is. And it's not even like I can't name anything in particular, like as to why that bothers me so much, but like I've seen it so many times. People being reckless with me, people being reckless with my students, people being reckless with my kids, like
Yeah.
why? Like you know what you do and what you do safely. Why would you ever take the chance of doing something you don't know how to do or like something you've never done safely?
Right.
It some things are common sense to others, not so much.
Absolutely. So, do you have an all-time favorite match as a fan? A match that's kind of like comfort food. You just find yourself gravitating back to it, and you can have watched it a million times, and it just never really gets old. And there's always some new little nuance. Do you have a match like that?
I've got a couple.
Okay.
The Jay Rios Ethan Case match that I mentioned earlier, like that one's just to me top level stuff. Like if it's got that kind of imprint on me, it must have some kind of weight to it.
Yeah.
Um, anytime I've watched Sammy Callahan wrestle Ricochet,
Yeah.
and like specifically like if I had to pick an era like 2016, 2017 ish. Um, I would say a match that I could just turn on at any point in time and just be like enthralled with it. Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle from WrestleMania 21.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how I felt whenever I wrestled Rios the first time because I know that was their first time ever doing anything together. And I was like, well, if they can do it, and like I know Rios and what he's capable of, he might not know me yet, but he's gonna.
Yeah.
And then we just go out and kill it. Like that. Those are the kind of matches that really they're like my comfort food. Like if I'm having a bad day, I can just walk in and turn any of those on and just I'm Gucci.
Gotcha. So, piggybacking on that question, do you have an all-time favorite promo as a fan? Is there a promo that springs to mind?
Yes. Oh Lord. And like he's by far one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. If not, like if Sammy Callahan is number one for me, my runner up or tied for first is Eddie Guerrero. Bar none. And he's got two specifically, one on each side of the equation, babyface and heel.
Okay.
As a babyface, he cut this emotional, heart wrenching, like gut churning promo about how like he was gonna fight Brock Lesnar at No Way Out, and he was overcoming addiction, and his new addiction was wrestling, and it's like 4 minutes of just him pouring his heart out about how when he was an addict, he failed his family, he failed himself, he failed his fans, and he's been earning it all back all the way up until now. And that WWE championship isn't just something for Eddie. Like he can look at everybody he let down and say, this is my way of saying I'm sorry. And I was like, oh, Oh God. Oh, right in the heartstrings.
Yep.
But on the flip side of the coin, when he turned heel against Ray in like '05, and like they were getting ready to go for a match in Judgment Day, he walks to the ring. He's not doing the flashy showmanship that he's known for. He walked out. They blacked out all the lights. He had one spotlight on him, and he just opens up this chair and he sits it in the middle of the ring, and he's just cutting a promo about how he didn't want to do it. And he was just giving Ray everything that he asked for. He said he wanted to fight, so I gave him one. And it was just it pulled my heart out in another way. Because like
Yeah.
we've all felt that way some way or another about somebody making us do something we didn't want to do.
Yep. Yep.
And that's what stuck out to me is like, even though he's a bad guy, like the best motivation is like when you think you're right.
Yep. Yep. You know, Eddie Guerrero was such a huge loss. I mean,
I agree.
you know, and you know, not to get too deep down this rabbit hole, but you know, I often wonder, you know, if Eddie had lived, would Chris Benoit be alive now?
I think so.
I kind of do too.
Genuinely.
I think the loss of Eddie really. I mean, you know, Chris already had his demons and everything, but I think
Yep.
the loss of Eddie sent him on a terminal spiral.
Yeah.
So
I think Eddie is like, and you know, I don't want to go too deep into it because it's just, you know, what ifs and hearsay, right?
right, yeah,
I think Eddie was such a good dude. Like genuinely, he was a lot of people's emotional anchor. Like
yeah,
they would talk to Eddie if something was about to like go wrong, and he would
yeah,
give them either advice or he would find a way to help them through it.
yeah,
Uh, and I like not even like touching on the situation that happened and like that
yeah,
tragedy, but like I feel like that happened with a lot of people that like Eddie would have been able to be there to help them
yeah.
because
I
like
agree.
he just seems like that kind of guy.
Yeah, I agree. So, you know, you've been doing this long enough that I'm sure this applies to one degree or another. So I'll ask, what hurts right now?
Everything,
Yeah,
everything. uh, I mean I can't. I wake up with little nagging aches and pains.
right.
I in 2022, I for a lack of a better term, I blew out my right knee. The left knee got blown out like 2020. I never figured out what was wrong with that one. I never went and got it checked out. It just started feeling better, so I said I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. My right knee, I know that I have a torn ACL, a torn meniscus. At the time of the MRI, I had a or I had a strained MCL, LCL, and the only CL that I didn't mess up in some way, shape, or form was the PCL. And like they gave me the list for my MRI, and it was like that. It was like, oh no, I thought this was like one thing.
Yeah,
Uh, I was supposed to have surgery on it, but I went and got a couple of opinions, and one of the closest people to me that I consider a mentor that is not Ethan Case or anybody from the academy is JD Drake.
hmm,
He's just always been there for me. Even before I knew Ethan, like I met Drake in 2015, and he's always been like that really cool uncle that'll give you the kick in the behind when you need it.
yeah,
Uh, but he suffered from knee issues too. And I was talking to him about it, and I was like, they really want me to go in for this surgery. They said I would not be able to live a comfortable life without surgery. My knee isn't that bad of shape. And he advised me to go in a different direction. And I'm not I'm not advocating for people to avoid surgery. Please, dear God, like if you need it, have it. But there are alternatives.
Oh, for sure.
So I went and like I rehabbed my knee, and like it's not as good as it once was, but like I'm able to perform at what people have considered a very high level. Um, People have said that since I hurt my knee, like my work has improved, as in like even if I have to dial it back, like and I have to focus on certain things, the fact that I had to focus on those certain things made them next to like perfect, which like nobody's ever perfect in wrestling. So
No.
I work on this stuff all the time, but I get as good as I can at these certain things, so I don't have to rely on this knee nearly as much. And people say it's very barely noticeable that I don't do half the stuff I used to do. Uh, but realistically, the only time I really hurt is when I stop wrestling. I
Yeah,
tell people all the
I can
time
see that.
it's it's not hard for me to be bulletproof for 15 minutes. It's afterwards. It's like if I have 2 to 3 weeks where I'm off and I just have to recover, that's when the aches and pains start to set in because you're losing your callus.
Yeah.
Like you're abusing your body to the point where you become numb to it, and then when it's not the norm anymore, that's when it starts to hurt.
Yep. And they say adrenaline and the thrill of the show and everything else, adrenaline's a hell of a drug. I
Yep.
mean,
Oh
so
yeah.
and yeah.
I I am kind like people wear this as a badge of honor in wrestling, and I suppose I do too, even though I find it a little silly, especially on the independent wrestling level. Finishing a match when you're like injured, like not hurt, injured.
Yeah.
Like in another match I had with Drew Adler, I happened to break my collarbone. And I just thought like I had dislocated my shoulder, and I've wrestled matches with a dislocated shoulder before, and I'm trying to pop it back into place, and it's not going back into place because it's not out of place. So
Yeah.
I spent the next 5 minutes still wrestling the match with Drew, trying to get my shoulder back into place, and I was finally just like, I can't do what we have coming next because it involves me lifting him up upside down over my head. And with one arm, that seems really dangerous and
Yeah.
irresponsible. Like I have to again, that goes back to my pet peeve of safety. Uh,
Right.
if I do this, he might not get to go home and see his family.
Yep.
Like, so I finished the match technically, and like it's mainly just because of that adrenaline you get, because there's just something about like, and I've kind of spoiled at this point. I'm used to wrestling in front of several hundreds of people.
Right.
Like I'm blessed that a lot of the shows I perform in front of draw really well. And having several hundred people like voice their approval and like excitement over a moment that you provided is like next level.
Oh, for
It's
sure.
it's untouchable to me personally. Uh, and in that moment, like I said, it's not hard to be bulletproof for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Like consequences afterwards, what you kind of got to deal with.
Yep. Yep. So, after knowing everything after 31 trips around the sun, if you could give any advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Like just in general, or like wrestling.
Just in general, or wrestling, whatever. Just
Okay. Um, I suppose this would apply to both criteria. Um, I wish that I knew to have fun a lot earlier than I did. I took wrestling so seriously to the point where it would stress me out, and I feel like almost robbed me of my love for this.
Mm-hmm.
But I've had it put into perspective for me, like in a conversation with myself, where I decided that I don't have any right to like feel any kind of way about wrestling and like my position in wrestling and why I'm not where I want to be, even if like the spot I'm in is beautiful. Because there's people right now who would kill for the opportunity to do what I'm doing, and for whatever reason they can't.
Right.
Like, how dare I feel sorry for myself? Like, it's such a, in hindsight, such a silly thing. Like, I'm literally getting to do my dream job, and I have the nerve to be disappointed because it's not going as smoothly as I would like it to. And there's somebody who physically can't do this, who would love nothing more than to do this. And my ungrateful ass is over here belly aching because it, at points, didn't go the way I wanted it to. That's silly.
You have got a great perspective.
I appreciate that.
So, do you have any pre-show traditions? Any things that you try to do consistently before you walk through the curtain?
Uh, I depending on where I'm at on the show, I
Mm-hmm.
like to watch the other matches first.
Okay.
I'm lucky enough to be later on most of the shows that I'm on, so I get the privilege of watching the other matches, seeing what the fans like, seeing what they don't like, what they don't care for, something they're indifferent about. Um, I like to put in my headphones and like after everything's said and done, and like I like to put my headphones in and just kind of envision how things are going to go in my head. You know, things are never going to go according to plan, but there's nothing wrong with like having an outline in your head, you know?
No.
Like I love sitting there with my headphones in, chilling out, clearing my mind of everything else. Because for however long I'm slated to wrestle, my job is to entertain these people. And I need to give that my full undivided attention.
Yep.
I can't worry about what's going on outside of that building. I can't worry about what's going on outside of my match. I can't worry about who's upset with who's offended by what. I am here to entertain. And I feel like if I can just put my headphones in, lean my head back, and just envelop myself in it for a little bit, then I will be a much better professional wrestler when I walk through that curtain. And really, only other thing is like I take really, really, really deep breaths, like, and it's not even like a nerves thing. It's I
Like
don't.
you're centering yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do that to center myself, and I also do it to go ahead and get my lungs prepared.
Yeah.
Because short of like running a blow up, you know, like running or like doing something to get me a little tired and get my lungs inflated, that's the next best thing. That simulates the act of like expanding your lungs and shrinking them back down.
Right.
Which, like a lot of locker rooms, you don't have the room to do those extravagant warm ups. So
Right.
the next best thing you can do is you stretch, you get a small little warm up in, and you just get ready to breathe. And then when you head out, you're ready. No excuses.
Gotcha. Well, something that we've done in all of these that's just been kind of fun is we've let the current guest pose a question for the next guest. So my previous guest was an Atlanta-based wrestler by the name of Von LaFleur. And the question that he posed is, What was the moment early on in your wrestling career that made you think you might not be cut out for this?
That first match,
Yeah.
uh, I legitimately thought that that's what wrestling was, and that I had just had this giant misconception, that and that I was not cut out for wrestling. When
Yeah.
it turned out it was somebody being negligent and trying to hurt me because he didn't like that I was coming in to take a spot or whatever he was thinking. Um, that was a very bitter pill for me to swallow because I thought I broke my neck, and
Yeah.
my mom was the one, and to this day I hate telling my mom she was right about anything. Uh, because no kid likes that. None of
No.
them.
No.
And she was like, if you get into that wrestling, you're gonna end up breaking your neck. And like, I thought I broke it because I couldn't move. Like, the situation was ugly, and like I thought like I was just gonna be in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And like I don't really share that too much because it's like it's such a negative thing. But
Right.
like I can't, it definitely did something to define who I am as a person. So it's one of those horrible moments where you don't want to say, well, if it didn't happen to me, I wouldn't be the man I am. But like, nah, kinda.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't be nearly as like dead set on safety and like just trying to be a good person. Like, I'm sure there's people out there that don't think I'm a good person, and that's fine. But I try. I genuinely do.
It's all we
Uh
can do, man.
yeah. Um but yeah, there was like about 30 minutes before like feeling came back from like my neck down where I was like, yeah, I'm not cut out for wrestling. And then when I left there, like I never thought about it again. Like, I had a handful of matches afterwards, and like, but I didn't really care for it anymore. Like, I was doing it because like I spent money on this training thing, and I felt like my mom and my dad like kind of put it in me when I was like a youth that you don't waste money.
Yeah.
So I was gonna get at least how much ever I paid out for training back in, and then I was gonna be like, all right, we broke even, we're done.
Gotcha. Well,
But
thank
yeah,
thank God, thank God for Ethan Case, huh?
yes sir, yes sir.
So, since this is part of a series, do you have a question that you would like to pose to the next guest?
Absolutely.
Okay, what you
Uh,
got?
what do you think that your younger self would think about you in wrestling now?
Oh, I like it. How would you answer that?
I would I would like to think that he would look up to the guy I am now. I would like to think I would like to think that he would think that I'm setting a good example, that I'm trying to leave wrestling in a better position than when I got in it.
Yep.
Um, and hopefully he would be a fan of what I did inside a ring. I I think he would be genuinely, but like it means a lot more to me that he would be proud of what I've done to influence wrestling outside of the ring. And if he liked what I did inside the ring, that would be a plus too.
Yeah. I like it. I like it. So, before we wrap all of this up, do you have any upcoming shows or anything at all that you'd like to give some hype to?
Oh Lord, I've got quite a busy schedule. So this Friday I will be in Waxhaw, North Carolina, with Extreme World Wrestling at the Waxhaw Tap House. I will be wrestling Johnny Baker in a dog collar match, which sounds kind of wild to just rip off, but like, me and him have got some history in the company. It makes perfect sense to me, so we have to put it to bed. The night after that, I am at my home promotion, Palmetto Championship Wrestling. I have no idea what I'm doing. I may just show up to crash it, but they told me to show up and be there, so that's what I'm going to do. Week after that, I've got TBD Wrestling, which is a newer promotion in North Carolina, though they are completely different from every other product that's running in North Carolina currently. And I'm wrestling a guy by the name of St. Julius. He's a good guy, good kid, young in the business, athletic to the point where it's almost annoying. But I had to show him the reason why the old guard is the old guard.
Yep.
And then, I've got a lot more, but I keep them on my phone. Those are just the ones right off the top of my head. I know I've got something that Sunday, but if I open this up, it's going to freeze my face on here, and I hate that. So,
just
maybe
keep
next
an
time I'll write them down.
keep an eye on your socials. And
Oh, absolutely. I post about where I'm going to be at frequently. You'll never have to guess. And even if you do have to guess, just shoot me a message. Usually I'll be pretty upfront about it unless it's supposed to be a big surprise, in which case, oh no, I'm staying at home.
Yeah. Well, as far as what we've got coming up on the Throwdown, this coming, I believe it's next Wednesday. I've actually got a Florida-based wrestler by the name of Casey Vi.
Beautiful.
He's coming on next Wednesday, the 30th at 7:30 p.m. And then the following day on the 31st, I've got at 7 p.m. Eastern, I've got episode 142 with New York City-based The King of Chaos, Logan Black. Logan is also the head trainer at the T2T Wrestling Academy in Brooklyn.
Awesome.
And I've got a bunch more stuff coming up. So again, also keep an eye on my socials as well, because I'm pretty much I'm actually booked through the end of August, starting into September, and
Busy man.
man, I love this stuff.
Absolutely.
And like I was telling you before we went on the air, just having this opportunity to do this is just such a thrill. Do me a favor and let Mila know I'm trying to reach out to her. I'd love to get her on the show.
That woman is so bad at answering her messages.
Well,
you would not believe the amount of messages I get that are just like, hey, can you tell her to check her messages? And I hate getting those messages.
I know.
But me and you are cool.
Yeah.
I'll make sure she checks.
I appreciate it, because I would love to pick her brain too. So
don't pick too hard. She's I'm telling everybody now she's smarter than she lets on, but there's some things that make me go, just why? Just why?
Yeah. I got you. Well, hey, thank you so much for your time. This has been awesome.
Hey man, thank you for having me. Genuinely, this was a fun conversation. Hopefully we get to do it again. I hope I wasn't too rambly.
Oh, dude, you are part of the Throwdown family now, so you can consider yourself as having a standing invitation to come back at any point. I look forward to staying in touch. So
absolutely, my messages stay open, man.
Yeah, and mine too. And for those of you that have been watching this live, thank you. For those of you that'll be seeing this on replays and such, thank you for that. If you like what we've got going here, do the old like, comment, share, and subscribe. And until next Wednesday night at 7 with Casey Vi, be good to each other, love each other, and let's keep throwing down.
Yes, sir.
goodbye, mwah, and good night, bang.
Thanks for listening to episode 140 of The Throwdown with Matt. James and I had a blast together. Among other things, it was fun hearing about the Doritos and Mountain Dew match he had with Drew Adler. As for what's coming, this Wednesday, July 30th at 7:45 p.m. Eastern, I will be live with episode 141 with Florida-based wrestler Casey Vi. This Thursday, July 31st at 7 p.m. Eastern, I will be live with episode 142 with my guest, New York City-based pro wrestler and head trainer at the T2T Wrestling Academy, the King of Chaos, Logan Black. Be sure to make plans to join us live on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter/X, Facebook, and Twitch and interact. If you can't make it live, the videos will be available on those platforms and the podcast will be available within a few days afterward. As always, if you like what we have going here, spread the word, follow me on my socials, leave comments, and maybe even drop us a review. Any or all of that will help us to continue to grow. Have a great rest of the week, and keep throwing down.